You are welcome. I welcome you to this channel, Messiah Revelation Ministry. We are a prophetic ministry dedicated largely to end time events. We are preparing for the arrival of the Messiah. You are reminded that the final trumpet of heaven has sounded based upon Revelation. We did a video on end time agents preparing for the mark of the beast, using technological platforms to promote the agenda of the Antichrist. Today we are focusing on another angle, and we are focusing on spiritual warfare in the end of days. The kingdom of heaven is about spiritual warfare. And the Messiah made it clear that since the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven has suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. You cannot enter heaven unless you overcome the spiritual warfare. And so today we are focusing on end time spiritual warfare, and Satan has his agents promoting the spiritual warfare, and that warfare will intensify, particularly at the time that we are very close to the coming of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Yeshua. Satan has agents, and the agents are individuals, they are organizations, they are nations, and some of the agents are principalities and powers. We have the fallen angels, and they are all in the camp of Satan, waging the war, spiritual war. It is about fighting God, denying the existence of God, mocking God, but ultimately preparing many people so that they will lose their salvation, preparing many people for them to die so that they will not get salvation. And unfortunately, many people are murdered, they are killed, and they are losing their salvation and every day. So we begin with the agents of the spiritual warfare, and I focus on Planned Parenthood Association. It's an organization founded by a lady by name Margaret Sanger, an American, a nurse, founded an organization, Planned Parenthood Association. You would think that they are preparing parents. No, it's an association interested in carrying out abortion all over the world. They have abortion clinics all over the world. They are in the business of abortion because the founder, Margaret Sanger, was a nurse, and she was an activist for birth control. In the last days, many people are promoting the doctrine of men and women, feminist movements over the world, promoting the idea that my body is my property. They are promoting abortion over the world. Margaret Sanger was the pioneer of abortion and established abortion clinics over the world. And one aspect of the agenda is depopulation. And in the United States, there are so many abortion clinics that are established, particularly in minority neighborhoods. And the plan is to depopulate people. So abortion is murder. And when you have Planned Parenthood Association promoting abortion, and not only in the United States, but over the world, is part of the end time spiritual. And you remember the famous Supreme Court decision Roe versus Wade, 1973, and that resulted in legalization of abortion in the United States. And since that ruling, Roe versus Wade, 1973, it's estimated that millions, about 60 million children have been aborted in the United States. It's part of the spiritual warfare. And as we are talking about spiritual warfare, we need to understand that every war has the agents behind it. And the war on children, the abortion war, the agents are the agents of depopulation. Those people who want to depopulate the world, and abortion is part of their strategy. And it is the strategy of those planning for the New World Order. And many diplomats were even behind that. Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State of the United States, was interested in depopulation. He wrote a memo to American president to depopulate the world. So we have agents of depopulation, and we have agents of war. They want to use depopulation and war as a means to wage war against God. As we are talking about the spiritual warfare, the agents also are philosophers. We are not going to talk about all the philosophers, but I will cite only one, a German philosopher, Karl Marx. Famously, he wrote the Communist Manifesto, and an atheist, and I believe he was a member of the Freemason. And he wrote against God, and his ideas has influenced governments over the world. The Communist Manifesto influenced nations, the rise of China, the rise of Russia. Communism has influenced even theology over the world. We have university professors who are Marxists. Karl Marx waged war against the family, even to the waging war against the family. Why? Because it's part of the spiritual warfare. The first institution that Satan waged war against is the family of Adam and Eve. And in the last days, the war against the family has intensified. The LGBT movement is a war against the family, and it is part of the spiritual warfare in the end times. The promotion of sexual promiscuity is a war against the family, and the increase in divorce rates is also war against the family. Many people are divorcing. It is not by choice only. It's a form of warfare. I met a Nigerian lady who told me that she's a member of the Grey Movement, and I know that she went on conferences over the world, and one of their agenda is to promote divorces all over the world. If there's an organization that has the agenda of promoting divorces over the world, you know that they are working as agents for Satan to destroy the family. Homosexuality is a war against God because it challenges the moral principles of the Bible, and it destroys the family foundations. So from a biblical point of view, I know that it is part of the spiritual warfare in the last days. The warfare is war against religion. The warfare, the spiritual warfare, is war against prayers. And I repeat, in 1962, the Supreme Court case in America, Angel versus Vatali, where the Supreme Court of the United States decided that you cannot mention the name of God if you are saying prayers in public schools. Children recited prayers in public school in New York. They mentioned the Lord's name, and an atheist sued the university saying that it is unconstitutional to mention the name of God in prayers in public school, and the Supreme Court of the United States agreed. And so since 1962, prayers in public schools cannot mention the name of God. That is the law in America. How come? It is happening because it's part of the spiritual warfare. War against religion is going on now, and they have the doctrine of separation of church and state. Constitutional doctrine articulated by the Supreme Court of the United States, controlled largely by Freemason judges who are acting as agents for the kingdom. The kingdom that is not part of the kingdom of God. If a president of the United States is a Freemason and he appoints judges to the Supreme Court who are largely Freemasons, of course, it allows the Supreme Court of the United States to promote Freemason ideas over the world, and it is part of the spiritual warfare. And that's why even if you go to Israel, you can see Freemason influences in the Supreme Court building. The Supreme Court of Israel has Freemason what they call symbols on it. You can do your own research. It's part of the spiritual warfare, and it will continue in the last days. There's a war going on. It is a spiritual war. It is war against God. And the war will intensify when we reach the time of the Antichrist. And that war will turn into physical war, the battle of Armageddon. And the Lord has already won in advance. Lucifer and his agents will be defeated. But meanwhile, the spiritual warfare will continue. The spiritual warfare in the end times is a cultural warfare. And so in one of the Grammys in America, I believe 2014, there was mass homosexual weddings in the United States. Mass homosexual wedding in the United States. And what about homosexual wedding? Is it not part of the spiritual warfare? After all, is it not because of homosexuality that the Lord destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah? But now, those who are waging war against God, they rejoice. They rejoice on June 26, 2015, when the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that a man can marry a man and a woman can marry a woman. And those who rejoice included President Barack Obama, who was president of the United States at that time. Very, very much happy that the Supreme Court of the United States has legalized same-sex marriage in America. It's part of the spiritual warfare. As we are talking about spiritual warfare, the agents include not only presidents and pastors. The agents also include organizations, the secret societies, so many of them. The major ones are the Freemason and the Illuminati, and they are waging war against God, and they want to establish a world government, the government that will be used by the Antichrist, and they are promoting their gods, and the gods are many. Are we talking about the god, the Baphomet? Talking about Baal? Are we talking about Krishna, or are we talking about Osiris? These are pagan gods, Babylonian gods, and they are being worshipped up to today. The god of Mammon is being worshipped today, the god who brings money to people. And whether we are talking about celebrities, wherever they are worshiping God. And that God is not the God who created the universe, the small God G, the God of Mammon, the God of money. Is part of the spiritual warfare. And so it is not surprising that in the last days, even pastors are worshiping the small G, the God of Mammon, and they are preaching his gospel. And the God of Mammon has a special gospel called prosperity gospel, and apostate evangelicals are preaching that apostate gospel, the gospel of prosperity. And of course, Lucifer is able to bless. Many pastors have been blessed by Lucifer. Lucifer is able to bless. He wanted to bless the Messiah by giving him all the fame and the wealth in the world if the Messiah, Yeshua, worship Lucifer. But you know that Jesus rejected the worship of Lucifer, rejected um, the tricks and the devices and deception of the god of Mammon. The world is ruled by Lucifer, who is leading the war against God. And John chapter 14, verse 30 talks about it, describes Lucifer as the prince of this world. So we have a prince of this world, and it is that prince who is controlling the Freemason. And as we talk about the Freemason and secret organization, it's very interesting that there was a branch of the Freemason that was established in America, Prince Hall Freemasonry. Prince Hall. A Prince Hall Freemasonry was established by black people in America, and because they were not able to enter the original Freemason, and that was controlled by mostly white men, white women. So they decided to establish their own Freemasonry, Prince Hall Freemasonry. And so at the time that we are approaching the arrival of the Messiah, we have so many pastors. These are pastors who are civil rights pastors, and they are pastors in churches, but they are also members of the Freemason. There are so many pastors in America and the world. They are evangelicals. They preach on the pulpit, but they are also members of the Freemason. They spend more time in the Masonic lodges in the world than they spend on the pulpit. It's part of the spiritual warfare, and the judgment will come. Judgment will begin in the house of the Lord. And when judgment comes, the Messiah will judge pastors who are part of the Freemason, and they are part of the occult world. As we are talking about the occult world, we are talking about symbols, occult symbols. And one of the major occult symbols is the all-seeing eye. I did research about it, and I consulted the book, and I know that the all-seeing eye, which is an occult symbol, is worshipped by even Christian denominations, worshipped by people who call themselves as followers of Jesus. The all-seeing eye, occult symbol, is in the Roman Catholic Church. At the gravesite of Charles Russell. Charles Russell was the founder of Jehovah's Witness. We have the occult symbol, the Freemason symbol. We find it over there. The gravesite of Charles Russell, founder of Jehovah's Witness. And we see the all-seeing eye on the American dollar bill. It's a mockery of God because America considered herself to be a Christian nation, but we must understand that even though they have the inscription, in God we trust on the American dollar, on the same American dollar, on the other side of the American dollar, there are satanic symbols, including the unfinished pyramid with an all-seeing eye, which is a satanic symbol. It's a spiritual warfare against God. And the mockery goes on. The mockery is part of the spiritual warfare. Apostle Peter talks about the mockery, that in the last days there will be scoffers. They will be scoffing about God. They will be mocking about God. And so we have the Illuminati. The Illuminati is part of the Babylonian culture. It's a pagan culture. It's a Luciferian organization. And the meaning of Illuminati is the keepers of the light. And who is the light? Jesus is the light of this world. And so if an organization claims to be the light of this world, of course, it's a satanic ploy, because Satan himself calls himself the morning star, and the Illuminati means the illuminated one is deception. The Illuminati is not the light of this world. Jesus is the light of this world, and he has revealed himself in some visions to me. He appeared in the sun as the light of this world. I saw the sun blinking, very, very bright. The light of this world blinded Apostle Paul on the road to Damascus. Saul was going to persecute Christians. It was part of the spiritual warfare. And the light of this world, the Messiah, blinded Saul on the road to Damascus. Nowadays, if people are going to join the Freemason or the Illuminati, they're deception, and they claim that they are the light of this world. Join the Freemason, join the Illuminati, so that you see the light of this world. Of course, it's part of the spiritual warfare. The agents of the warfare are organizations, secret societies, and the agents are presidents and kings of this world, and they using intimidating tactics to promote the deception. And so, as part of the intimidation tactics in the secret societies, there are so many weapons they use. Threat about your finances. If you expose the Freemason, you are threatened. And remember what happened to celebrities who lost their lives. You're talking about American celebrities who lost their lives, talking about other celebrities and other nations who lost their lives, talking about presidents who were taken out, deleted, because they were about to expose the secrets of the dark kingdom. People have suffered death. They have been taken out because they were going to expose the secrets of the dark kingdom. This is the spiritual warfare that is going on, and it will intensify in the last days. Lucifer has his agents. Some of the agents are in the offices of presidents of nations, and some of the agents are in organizations, Lucifer-controlled organizations such as the United Nations. And nowadays we have the agents of Lucifer in schools, in universities, and even in kindergartens, because that his time is very short and he's doing all that he can do to wage the last battle against God. And the last battle will be the battle with the mark of the beast that will be introduced by the Antichrist. It is an eternal battle because Lucifer is going to use the mark of the beast to send as many people as possible to the lake of fire. Don't be part of the lake of fire. Remember that we are fighting a war. We struggle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places and rulers of darkness. And this is the spiritual warfare that is going on. And I encourage you to be awake, because since the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven has suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. You need to be awakened. We are in the days of spiritual warfare, and the agents of Satan, they are very busy. They are very busy, but don't let them take you by surprise. Prepare and be very strong. This is Messiah Revelation Ministry. Share the video. Thank you very much. This channel is known in the realms of the spirit. Heaven knows the channel. We are broadcasting end time events, and we are awakening the world, because the Messiah is coming to judge and to rule. Thank you very much.